A 19-year-old used AI to build an app called Quitter in about 10 days. It's an app that helps people quit watching adult content. And within a few months, it had hundreds of thousands of users and had grown to over 1 million ARR. Then someone found that its entire database was open to the public. So anyone who knew where to look could see every user's private information. The result was around 600,000 people getting their information leaked, including about 100,000 minors. Now imagine what that meant with an app that people would never want anyone to know that they had downloaded. So in this video, I'll go over the full timeline of this story, every single thing that caused this, and what other apps can learn from this. So the app this whole story is about is called Quitter. It's built to help people quit watching adult content. It tracks how long you've gone without it, gives you streaks and challenges to stay on track, and a community for support. So it's the same kind of app as a habit tracker or any kind of meditation app. The person who built it was a 19-year-old who taught himself to code, and he put the first version together in about 10 days, using AI to help him write it. And once it went live, it took off almost immediately. In the first 6 months, it passed over 350,000 downloads across 120 countries and crossed $1 million in revenue. It even got written up in the press and became one of the top health and fitness apps in the App Store. So this looked like the exact outcome everyone building an app right now is going for. Now, the reason one person could scale that fast comes down to the tools that he used. You see, instead of building everything from scratch, he used ready-made tools that handle the hardest parts of an app for you, like storing every user's account and personal information, as well as managing their login. The main one he used was a Google tool called Firebase, and it was where everything users typed into the app got saved. That's what let the teenager launch a real working app in just 10 days. And it's also where everything went wrong. A security researcher went looking and found that Quitter's entire database was open to anyone who wanted to see it. Every user's account and personal information was readable online, and you didn't need to get a password or any kind of permission to get to all of it. All it took was knowing the web address where the data was stored, and you could read every single record. And the reason the database was open comes back to that Firebase setup from before. You see, when you start a new project in Firebase, it comes with a setting that lets anyone read and change everything inside it, because that's what makes it easy to test while you're building. You're supposed to lock that setting down before real people ever use your app, but the kid who built the app never changed it, so anyone could still get in from the very first day. Now, the leak was so bad because of what people had actually put into the app. Around 600,000 people had their information exposed, and about 100,000 of them were under the age of 18. And remember what kind of app this is. So we're talking about the most private information someone could ever share. Things like how often they were struggling and the private notes they wrote about why they wanted to quit. By the way, the 19-year-old who built this app had no idea anybody's information was exposed until, of course, somebody went looking and found it. So in case you have your own software and you want to make sure that nothing like this currently happening can happen to you, you can find out for free using a site called TripleKey by clicking the first link below the video. It reads through all of your code and takes you exactly to where the issue is that you need to fix. Anyway, let's keep moving. So the kid who built Quitter wasn't careless or clueless, and that's exactly what should worry you. He was extremely smart. He taught himself to code, but a real product that hundreds of thousands of people actually downloaded and used the same standard tools that millions of other apps are also built upon. So my point is, this can happen to anyone building an app, even someone doing everything else the right way. Because the entire time that database was open, the app itself ran perfectly. All 600,000 of those people had signed up and were using it. Nothing ever looked wrong. That's because a working app and a safe app are not the same thing. An open database with a ton of private information doesn't slow anything down or show up anywhere on the screen. Now, the reason it's so easy for something like this to happen is because of how fast you can build an app right now. With AI being able to write so much of the code for you so fast. When you're building as fast as you can, and you rely on ready-made tools. You trust whatever setting they come with, and you end up using code you've never fully read yourself. Every one of those shortcuts is another chance to leave your user's data somewhere anyone can read it. And obviously, you can't do anything about a problem that you don't even know exists. If you don't want any of this to happen to you, the first thing to do is go and look at who is allowed to read your database right now. Open whatever tool is storing your user's information. Find the section that controls who can read and write, and read what it actually says. What you're checking for is whether it's still set to let anyone in, because that one setting is the whole reason 600,000 people have their information exposed. Then do the same thing for every other tool that you've added, because they all came with their own settings as well. Those settings are there to make things easy while you're building, and they stay exactly how they came until you go in and change them. So for each tool, the question is whether you've ever opened those settings at all, or whether you've just left them alone. And remember, you can only check the settings you know about in the first place. A lot of what's running inside your app got added automatically by a tool you installed or by an AI writing code for you, and you never saw any of it. So the people this never happens to are the ones who go out and find everything that's in there, instead of just assuming that they already know. The whole lesson from Quitter is that an app can look like a massive success and still be exposing every single record of its users. And from the outside, you'd have no idea. So if you'd rather not go through all of your code yourself, you can find out exactly where you're exposed for free using TripleKey, which I'll link at the top of the description. It goes through all of your code in a few minutes, never changes or stores a single line of it, and gives you a number from 0 to 100 that shows you exactly how exposed you and your company are, so you can find it and fix it before anyone breaks in. So again, you can try out TripleKey by clicking the first link in this video. And if you want a full list of things to check before you ever launch an app, then check out this next video.